priest in Atlanta, and I thought, wow, I want to be a part of this tribe. And as a Baptist, it also interested me that they drank alcohol. Openly. They did not sneak it. They openly drank it, and they talked with such passion about theology and Bible and church. I went back to my interdenominational seminary in New York and got on the track to join up with you guys. And the first part of my working life was as a counselor and as a psychotherapist in New York, in Connecticut. I also taught in the field in the Doctorate of Ministry program. And the last thing I was interested in was being a parish priest. It just was abhorrent to me as a young man. I thought, oh my gosh, to have to prepare a sermon every week, it's like writing a term paper every week. And life, as many of you know, brings a lot of surprises in terms. And I am really enjoying being in a second career as a parish priest. And it's wonderful to have the privilege of working in community with our great heritage that we heard so well presented to us last night by our new presiding bishop. I discovered the Mankind Project about 8 years ago. It's an organization that began around a kitchen table in the 1980s in Wisconsin of 3 men, an engineer, a psychologist, and a visionary guy. And they were looking at what was being done for women at the time of consciousness-raising groups. And they thought, men need this also. I think about the great promise in John's Gospel. I have come to bring you life, that you may have it more abundantly. All the research shows that we males learn to start constricting ourselves very early in life. We learn to diminish our feeling capacity. Boys, don't cry. Man up. I would be so ashamed if I were like that. I remember getting that message from my dad, who was a good man. He was a wonderful man. And he also made the mistake of shaming. Guilt is when I am inconsistent with my value system and I do something that is out of alignment with my values. Shame is my overall condition. And it is known that men carry these pockets of shame, not being good enough, not measuring up. The Mankind Project addresses these issues and has a very powerful weekend called the New Warrior Training Adventure. And the warrior part has to do, coming from archetypal psychology, Carl Jung, that, well, to put it in Garrison Keillor's terms, it's what helps you get up out of bed in the morning and do what needs to be done. It is so easy to lose contact with one's energy in one's life, especially with a lot of the internalized earlier messages that males get. Jack, are you ready?
I think so.
We're going to see a 7-minute video. Now, there are a number of videos online. I chose the one that was put out by the New Zealand community. Mankind Project exists in almost every state, plus about 12 countries. And I thought the New Zealand tape is particularly poignant.
Experiencing some problems in relationships. I had 2 women on the go at once. I carried lots of shame growing up.
I was pretty lost. Every time that we had these big fights, it would just break my heart to think that I would be separated from my daughter.
Where I was at, not as far along as I wanted to be.
E te pautoko manua o te ao, manakatia mātou, arahina mātou I roto I o mātou kainga maha, me o mātou mahi katoa. Te pai o te ao, manakatia mātou, arahina mātou I roto I o mātou kainga maha, me o mātou mahi katoa. Te pai o te ao, manakatia mātou, arahina mātou I roto I o mātou kainga maha, me o mātou mahi katoa. Te pai o te ao, manakatia mātou, arahina mātou I roto I o mātou kainga maha, me o mātou mahi katoa. Te pai o te ao, manakatia mātou, arahina mātou I roto I o mātou kainga maha, me o mātou mahi katoa. Te pai o te ao, manakatia mātou, arahina mātou I roto I o mātou kainga maha, me o mātou mahi katoa. Te pai o te ao, manakatia mātou, arahina mātou I roto I o mātou kainga maha, me o mātou mahi katoa. Te pai o te ao, manakatia mātou, arahina mātou I roto I o mātou kainga maha, me o mātou mahi katoa. Te pai o te ao, manakatia mātou, arahina mātou I roto I o mātou kainga maha, me o mātou mahi katoa. Te pai o te ao, manakatia mātou, arahina mātou I roto I mauri ora ki te wahinga aro.
It was a gateway. A wake up to renewed life. Real. Ruthless. Honest. I use it every day, every hour, every day. It just makes me who I am.
It's brought me to a point of finding out who I am through cutting out the bullshit that was going on.
The biggest gift, absolutely, best thing I've ever done.
Awesome. Great. That's what I discovered was that, wow, I'm a full human being with a full range of emotions. Great. The training adventure to me was about exploring my inner.
It's a weekend of experiential training where you will look into places inside of you that you didn't know existed, and you will begin to understand what makes you fuck up when you fuck up, what makes you brilliant when you're brilliant.
It's a challenge. It's a challenge on many levels, and that's kind of confronting for some guys. So it's purposely designed to put you out of your comfort zone and directly into your learning zone.
I've described it as the toughest thing that I've probably done in the last 10 years.
It's a place where I can learn more about me and the good parts and the bad parts, and I can deal with that.
Taking a good hard look at yourself is the path, from my perspective, is the path to the truth about yourself and about knowing what your purpose is in this world. I grew up, like most other people, in a culture in which initiation had long passed, and there was a part of me that I was never told. No one pulled me aside and go, hey, you're a man now. Here's what it means to be a man. And so the New Warrior Training Adventure actually kind of plugged that gap. It was a rite of passage in which I knew myself as a man in the world, and not because my dad patted me on the head and told me, but I knew it. I knew it in my bones. I knew it in my body through the processes and the experience of the weekend itself.
It kind of marks a line in the sand from one way of acting and being to another, and a new way of acting and being. One of the cornerstones we pride ourselves on is that we're open to any man, wherever he comes from, whatever background he comes from. So you'll see men from all different races, different sexuality, and different belief systems. A new warrior for me is a man that lives through a life of purpose, has a mission that he stands by and gets him out of bed. And he's guided by that mission from day to day.
It's changed the way that I deal with my kids.
To be able to talk to my daughters about my feelings and my emotions.
Helping me be really present with my kids.
Well, I know what my stepdaughter will say. They say, that's how they can talk to me now.
I did it in the first place because my wife suggested it. We had done a lot of personal growth together over the years, over a very long time. And that was the glue that made our marriage work.
It's a huge step for a man to go on the New Warrior weekend, and it's from what I've seen, it's an amazing experience. They come away from it with huge changes in their lives, really positive things come out of it. I was quite sceptical when Michael first went, but the changes I saw in him were huge.
Just listen to the wives and partners, or look at them. See the reaction when they get their men back.
What I have to thank you for is your willingness to step into more of who you are and be that so strongly for yourself and the world and therefore for others.
I guess I could say that I've had what I consider to be some troubles in my adult life, and I guess I've always felt like those are things that are unique to me, and one of the great things that I've gained from the training is seeing other men have the courage to to share theirs and to see that they are quite similar to mine.
Yeah, I thank you for, instead of wanting to be the man, for being a man. What I can see most in you is a butterfly that had its wings folded back and you're so willing to open them out and feel what it's like to fly. And I love you for that.
So to emphasize that last scene, you can see the joy of the wife over what she's now experiencing in her husband. And her image is that she had experienced her husband as a butterfly with closed wings, and there was something about the weekend that enabled him to open his wings. Now I think that is something that happens to a lot of men, that we learn to constrict ourselves and limit ourselves. And the abundant life calls us to expand. This weekend is excellent for a man to show up with warts and all, that men are honored for telling their truth about who they are and where they are. There's a lot of respect given for telling on oneself, and with the honesty that comes from that. There are brochures outside about this experience, and we have time for questions or comments. Yes, sir.
So what is a weekend like?
It was referenced there that there are various experiences. It's experiential. There are exercises, sharing in small groups. There's cognitive input, and then there are emotional experiences in encountering the call and the adventure to something that's new and fresh.
Do you have them in every state?
Almost every state has these weekends. Texas has its own dedicated center that's centrally located. Yes.
Father, the one thing I noticed in the composition of the group, I only saw one person with white hair.
Well,
is that, we got the same amount, so that's fine. I'm happy I got some. Do you see that type of a composition in the other places?
There are men there all the way from 20 to 90.
Okay. But this film just showed one.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
This looks like it's built on the work of Richard Rohr. Is that true?
You know, it is connected to Richard Rohr, and Rohr has been a speaker in Mankind Project. It's also connected to the thinking of Robert Bly, the poet. It's connected there. It's connected to Carl Jung, his psychology. Yes?
I find this to be very closely related to what I understand as emotional intelligence. And I can't think of the author's name, but I mean...
Daniel Goleman.
Okay.
Yeah, it was, you used that term. And that's exactly one of the needs that the originators were addressing in creating this weekend. It's to help a man be more emotionally connected. To help me know what my feelings are. So that when I have the feelings that are considered socially unacceptable, I don't have to stuff them. I can at least admit them to myself. The anger, the hurt, those feelings that often boys learn to deny and push down. And then to be with men where I can talk about these things, and I know I'll be honored and accepted for those feelings.
Is this weekend associated with any longer-term follow-up and interactions?
There are follow-ups of there are groups in various areas called integration groups, where a man can be with other men who've gone through this experience and can continue personal work. Before I stop, I want to emphasize how if I haven't done this already, how valuable this weekend is. And I want to invite you, if you think that you're stuck in any area of your life, if you have plateaued somehow, to seriously think about doing this weekend, to launch yourself anew, and to know that you don't have to settle for being stuck, whether it's in your personal self-care, caring for your own health and well-being, or if you feel limited emotionally, or you get feedback from the most important people in your life that something is missing, that pick up on those cues and consider the possibility of this weekend.
I have a comment.
Yes, sir.
My daughter and her family are now stationed in New Zealand, and I was there for a month, so of course I'm an expert. I thought that the most powerful part of your presentation was the fact that this is from New Zealand. This is a very a-religious country. Sorry. This is a very a-religious country, more so than us. It is, I've been to 2 Anglican churches, and I was about the youngest one there. And that's why Jeff's question triggered this response in me. If this weekend brings New Zealanders closer to themselves and hopefully to Christ, it is a powerful statement.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Richard.